Hello, welcome back to our Comp 1011 and C for coffee. Today we're gonna introduce the pointers. Let me start by this example called swap, which means you have to switch the values of two variables, for example, A and B. This is code to do the trick. Since we can't exchange the values of A and B directly, so the idea here is to use a temporary variable called temp as a bridge. First, we can set its value to that of A. Then we can set the A to the value of B. Then we can set the value of B with the old value of A, which has been saved in the temp previously. So the values of A and B will be exchanged in this way. The code works well. However, in case we want to exchange more pairs of values like this, it's not that convenient because we have to repeat that set of codes all the time. With the knowledge you've grabbed so far, you might realize immediately that we should make a function for it, like what's shown here. The swap function has two parameters, x and y. By passing the a and b into that function, and we should be able to exchange the values of a and b because we have exactly the same code like we had so far. However, the result shows it doesn't work, unfortunately. The reason is pretty simple. Recall what we have introduced for functions. Functions have their parameters as local variables, which are only valid inside that function. When we're calling the function swap AB, we are passing the values of A and B, which will be copied into x and y there. So locally inside that function, the values of x and y will be exchanged with this code. However, the hasn't been copied back to that of A and B because there's no way to copy them back. Let's write a new version, swap2, and apply them to exchange the values of C and D here. You will see from the result, it worked. So by checking out this code, do you find something familiar? Those and A and B, did they remind you something? This is what we have introduced at the very beginning of this course for the function scanf. Here we're using the AND as an address searcher. The address searcher will tell us the address where the variable has been stored, like the year here, rather than giving the values of that variable directly. It will be very convenient to be used between functions. Like we have introduced, it's much easier for function to find the values of some of the variables using those absolute address rather than the names of them. It's like what has been used by the postman. Therefore, you will see from here in the new version swap 2, the XY actually got the address of C and D rather than their values. The address has been encoded as a number there. That's the reason when you are printing them out, you see the that numbers. Okay. What's new for you here are the stars in front of X and Y. You can consider them as the value readers, which means by use it in this way, it's going to find the values from the corresponding address. Here, the X and Y, as we have introduced, are the address of C and D. And so in this way, the value reader will read the values of C and D because we have that address like shown here. In this case, the T is going to take the value from the address X. That means it's going to take the value of that of the C. And later on, we are putting the values saved in the address of Y into the address X, which are actually setting the value of D to C, as you can see from here. Then finally, the address of Y will receive the value which we have saved in T temporarily. That means the value of the original C. So in this case, we have exchanged the value of C and D in this way. And then later on, because the address hasn't been changed, but we actually exchanged the values. And after printing them out, you will see the value in the address X and Y have already been exchanged. However, because the exchanging has been conducted on the address directly, but at the same time, C and D are still associated to that two addresses, so their value will be exchanged at the same time. Here is a summary of what we can learn from the previous example. Pointers like the X and Y are special variable for addresses, and AND is an address searcher. This is what we have introduced before. Star is a value operator which can read from or write to an address. And this is the way to declare a special variable for storing the address of that integer. This is an example. You can actually declare the pointers for other type like the float, the double, and the char, and so on and so forth. And in general, in a general form, it will be a data type, star, and pointer name. You can do it like this. Okay, and by using the address, the value reader, the star, you can read and write the value from certain address.